I had so much to say about the T app and all of my, I had so many great positions, the anti-sociality of it all, and the fact that we're all like willingly contributing to a you know, that panoptical system where all of our behavior is constantly being hyper vigilantly scrutinized by the people around us, and every mistake we make has the possibility of like forever branding us, and it causes increased distrust, which leads to worse problems down the road. Have you seen the way the incels are acting on Twitter or anywhere else? I guess they're freaking the out over the T app leak. You know, they're what they're basically saying is like, we'll show those bitches for doing the T app, the doxing app, you know, by double doxing them. You know, we'll be more vindictive towards them than anyone on the T app was being towards men. Kind of valid? No, I don't really think so. I don't think that like just signing up for the app means that your personal identifying information gets to get like pinballed around by a bunch of 4chan neo-Nazis who despise women as a first principle. These people are a lot more vitriolic than, like, most of the women on T, I'll tell you that much, okay? If there are any more women on T, after a data breach like that, I wouldn't be surprised if everyone fled the app. I don't sympathize. Putting your ID online is dumb as f. Tell UK's parliament that, okay? Why do men and women hate each other? Great question. Well, they hate each other for different reasons. It's complicated, okay? As always, the underlying truth remains the same, right? Which is that men fear women laughing at them, women fear men killing them, you know? The reciprocal threat is different. Even if there's mutual antagonism, it doesn't change the fact that, like, there's just such a difference in scope and, like, institutional power. You know, when men hate women, it's this broader narrative of, like, why won't she f me? Why can't I have a trad wife? Free! And when women hate men, often it's because they've had like a legitimately really bad experience with men, and they get this sort of like essentialist view of it where they think that men ain't shit, which in fairness a lot aren't, but they, you know, they take that to a logical extreme. Now, I'm not justifying that. I do think that there are very different levels of social vitriol, but if you're, you know, if you're a viewer of my channel and this is the first time you've come across the notion that sexism against men and sexism against women might have two different like levels of severity, just on average, that would be surprising to me. You've probably heard that before. Unfortunately, the fact that this is panned out the way that it has means that it's basically like guaranteed that no lessons will be learned from this. The only lesson that'll be learned is don't upload your ID to a site that you're using for, you know, in an antisocial capacity, I guess. Yeah, there's no social lesson that's going to be learned from this. I don't know. It's because now a lot of women are going to go, well, see, clearly we do need to warn each other about men. Look at the way they're acting right now, which I don't disagree with. T was meant to help women date safely. It's complicated, man. T said in an Insta post to reach 4 million users. Whew. It was made to be vindictive to men. I think it was made for a variety of reasons, but it's the underlying logic of the app is flawed. It's bad on first principles. Regardless of the intention with which it was made, this isn't the right solution. I don't think that's necessarily a condemnation of everyone who used it, though, right? It's a little more complicated than that. The self-selection was spot on. This type of thing brings out the worst people and practices. Yeah, unfortunately, there just isn't going to be much pro-social use of an app that's capable of being used so vindictively, you know? No email address or phone numbers were exposed. Yeah, but people's driver's licenses were. What is this subreddit? AWDTSG is toxic? What does that stand for? Very Reddit-themed stream today, it seems. T-app in a nutshell. Oh, and it's a crying femjack. Oh, femoid owned. Foid wrecked. Roast beef. I'm going through the posts on X right now, and I don't think I've laughed this much in my life like ever. My stomach hurts, lol. Really? That's... I don't know, man. Maybe you kind of deserve to be on that app. That's just genuinely crazy to me. That would be like that you would post that. That like the most joyous you've ever been was when the site that was ostensibly about women's safety, but probably largely about sort of vindictively doxing men, all the people, like, or at least a lot of the people using it had their identities leaked. You have no idea if the people whose identities have been leaked have done anything wrong on the site, mind you, only that they signed up for it. Maybe didn't sign up even understanding what the site was. Maybe the people whose identities got leaked, they signed up just like being curious about the app, but didn't really understand sort of the implications, or didn't go on there to shit talk anyone. I mean, it's not like everyone who signed up for the app went there conscientiously going, I'm going to go vindictively shit talk as many men as possible, you know? Dog, look at this. Yes, it's all quite funny. Remember, these girls use their actual driver's license, which contains their height and weight, and honestly, I've never seen such a collection of absolute hogs all at once. Every single one of them is like 5'3", 280 pounds, 5'2", 290 pounds. Dare I say it, even 5'1", 300 pounds? They were all complaining about the men in their lives and how badly treated they are, etc. All the happy and well-adjusted women will never need an app like this, unlike this subreddit, which is for happy and well-adjusted men. What we are seeing is the most disgusting women in the world, who may be a guy will get drunk and have a one-night stand with them and never talk to them again. They go on the app, put up his picture, then pick through a number of insults they can use to with him. Misogynist, racist, Do you think these people ever get tired of this? Nah, probably not. Hand is in his pants while typing. Yeah, seriously. It's just a total vindication of the T app, to be honest. I guess, like, it just seems weird to me that the people who seem to dislike the app the most are the people who are essentially saying that they are worse versions of the worst versions of the women who use the app. Like, they're basically saying, well, I'm satisfied by this because I'm a male version of the fake woman I'm imagining to justify my anger. Like, I'm that in reverse. So this is funny to me, you know? It's just, I don't know. I feel like you're kind of doing men a disservice a little bit. So I take it the lesson that I'm meant to learn from this is that the people who are upset with the T app, like the men who are upset with the T app, are overwhelmingly like vitriolic misogynists who are probably, let's be real here, not even posted on the T app because they're not that romantically successful. That guy fell for it again, 3-time Trump voter who's questioning his position on Epstein now. Really? Oh yeah, same guy. Straight Vehicle 745. I voted for Trump 3 times. Noticed a few things. When Ghislaine Maxwell was jailed for child sex trafficking, he says he wished her well when asking about her. He repeatedly dodges questions about Epstein. You know this guy is going to, like, radicalize himself into being pro-Epstein or pro-Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, I don't think people like this are very good at introspection or admitting when they've been wrong. He'll fall in line. That's got to be fake. Nah, man, a lot of people just suck. Yeah, if you look up the T app right now on YouTube, it's like all right-leaning YouTubers who are gloating. It's not even like dating culture YouTubers. It's like right-leaning YouTubers gloating over the leak and posting like photos of the unattractive people who were leaked. Pretty much the entire Matt Walsh is gloating. Oh, I'm sure. I do think it's nice that my first video on the T app is one of the highest viewed on the subject, and that my criticisms of the T app are more rooted in the anti-sociality. Seemingly the only person commenting on this who isn't motivated by, like, gender-based animosity, at least to my knowledge. Sure, there are some other good people out there. Consistency. I mean, these men are not happy. These men are not happy. Did you get the impression from any of these fellas that are gloating that they're happy? It's such a destructive path, and the only reason this path exists is because there are, like, right-wing YouTubers who monetize their animosity. Never associated myself with being a feminist because feminism is just misandry. So true. From the leaks I saw of the users, all of them are chopped Lamau. Thoughts on the UK's goon ban? I talked about it yesterday, and the day before, I think. Men didn't even have to build their own app to win. That kind of shows how they think about it, you know? Young men are so cooked. Yeah, I don't know how many of these people are actually in the sort of typical dating range, like age range, you know what I mean? Probably a lot of, like, angry 14-year-old boys who have watched way too much YouTube, and divorced men. T-app was built to profit off shaming men. I'm a woman and I don't agree with this T-app. But when does the narwhal bacon? I think the real telling thing is that their opponents losing is winning for them instead of, like, actually winning, finding a real meaningful relationship. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100% for sure. I think a lot of these people are so lost they can't even imagine what that would look like. Like, they think of themselves as soldiers in some kind of gender war, like some sort of war against tyrannical misandry or feminism or whatever, but they've completely lost sight of self-interest, you know? They no longer have, they don't even have it in mind, really. I've always thought it's really telling that on, like, right-wing, male-oriented dating subreddits or communities in general, I guess, men going their own way, red pill, incel type stuff or whatever, whenever guys post about their relationships to brag in those environments, it's always about the subservience of the woman, never about the happiness of the man. Always, like 100% of the time. Like whenever a guy would go to the red pill forum and be like, yeah, everyone listen up, I've got a real one. It's always about how she, you know, steak and blowjobs, she's not a feminist, blah, blah, blah. But it's never like, I'm happy. That's never the point. Like, that's never even focused on, because they don't think of it in the context of happiness. They're not trying to satiate any personal desire for fulfillment. They're trying to impress other men online, which is pretty gay. It's pretty gay, folks, in my opinion. Kink posting, I actually think in a lot of cases it's not, because in order for it to be kink posting, they would have to be aware of what they're doing and they would have to enjoy it. Like, for instance, I don't think Andrew Tate really enjoys the company of women in any context. At least if the sort of stuff he says is to be believed, you know? I think he exclusively views them as trophies with which to impress men. You know, I mean, he said that he doesn't enjoy sex. I certainly don't think he enjoys being around women. Is there a way out of this that isn't like South Korea? Dude, I have no idea. The gender political polarization does seem to be worsening on average over time. Like it fluctuates, of course, but it does seem to be going in that direction. It might be straight up correlated with online time spent. Maybe if our social, like our in real life social environments were a little bit more pro-social, it'd just be more difficult to fall for that shit, you know? It's probably a lot easier to fall for red pill YouTube bullshit when you're an impressionable kid, rather than like if you're I don't know, like a happy 22-year-old or something in a steady relationship. Don't know how you really get that though. Not consistently. Do you have a VODs channel? No, all the VODs are saved on my channel. It's one of the playlists. It's got like 1,500 streams in there. Have you heard of T-Born? It was a male version removed from the App Store because of revenge porn. Kind of a little bit telling on that dynamic, that like the T app for women would be about warning each other of men, or at least like shit talking men, but the reverse for men would be about like revenge porn. Because like women wouldn't do that. Women aren't going online to go, hey, fellow femoids, fellow foids, look at the cock of this guy that I just. That's just not. I'm sure there are some women doing that, you know, but I don't think it's as typical. Men are so desperate to impress other men with the existence of women, you know? It's crazy. It's pretty gay, I don't know. Every insecure man thinks women do that. Yeah, which is crazy, but, you know. I'm so sniffly today because I was doing moving prep the other day and I kicked up a bunch of dust moving boxes, and it's definitely got my allergies a bit up. I guess I'm always kind of sniffly. I'm just a sniffly guy. I wonder if I have a little bit of a deviated septum, just like a teensy bit, not a significant amount. What happened to your hike? It just got rescheduled. So I'm taking advantage of the time that I've got here. Are gay people just chilling, or does this affect us too? I think this is more of a het thing. That subreddit certainly has its fair share of bad incel types, but there have been real stories of job loss and reputational harm they can't get beyond. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I think the T-app is bad. I just think that it's kind of telling, like the kind of vitriol you're seeing in response to its leaks, and the severity of the vitriol. You know, I think that it kind of delegitimizes criticisms of the T-app when the like men essentially go, oh, well, we are animals, right? Like we are awful. I don't think that justifies the T-app. I'm just saying we're not learning any lessons here, you know? Things are not being improved. Is there any good media coverage of the T-app at all? I feel like the leak is pretty significant, like culture-wise, and I don't know. Fox 26 Houston?
An app designed to let women safely discuss men they date has been hacked. The app T said today about 72,000 images have been leaked online, including pictures, photo IDs of users that were submitted during account verification process. Fox 26 photojournalist Chandler Watson spoke with a tech expert about it.
Yeah, let's talk tea. And no, not the refreshing summer drink. It's an app.
But at the end of the day, it's not their fault. At the end of the day, is the T-app was breached.
A breach exposing around 72,000 images of women, including selfies and their IDs. The T-app, which is designed to protect women in the new age dating world.
It's an app designed for women.
It was apparently absurdly easy to hack too. Like the way the app was coded made it very vulnerable to the leak, like preposterously so. I don't know enough about coding to verify that. I've just heard a lot of people say that apparently it was like shockingly incompetently coded.
Where they can share information about dates and the people that they're going out with.
How is tea a refreshing summer drink? In the American South, and this is in Houston, people usually say tea when referring to iced tea or like the Arizona sweet tea stuff. It's a totally different connotation in the American South. Tea in the American South has 800 calories per glass, and it's a summer drink.
Did just the opposite on Friday. According to the T-app's privacy policy, the selfies taken are deleted, quote, immediately following the completion of the verification process, end
Nope.
Quote. And as bizarre as this sounds,
well, it's not bizarre at all. We are experiencing lately data breaches everywhere because what's going on is hackers are trying to breach this type of data because they can start building profiles that can be sold to the dark web.
So why would
apparently the service they were using to hold the images had a setting to make it private. They somehow forgot to make it private. I think they were just selling the data. Like, how hard is it to delete data after it's been used for verification? Again, I'm not a coding guy. I'm sure net coding is complicated, more complicated than I think, but I'm pretty sure that's possible. You store the data somewhere and you test it, you get the verification, and once it checks out, you go, okay, bye-bye, and then you overwrite it. Like, I feel like that's pretty doable, you know?
social engagement app requires such identification?
The data leak wasn't part of the app itself, but a storage for a report. That's crazy, genuinely. Like the fact that you wouldn't even need to breach the app, like they would just, it's the equivalent of like getting insider business info by scrounging the trash can outside of Business HQ and finding like unshredded, unburned files saying in all print, all caps, like we are planning a merger, or the product that we've been testing is not going to go to market or something.
The idea here is to make sure that you are who you say you are.
Torres then expressed how a breach like this is minute compared to the AT&T breach of April 2024.
Hey, really quick, I know I'm kind of like lingering on this topic, but can somebody find me a video by a somewhat prominent YouTuber or TikToker or something like that? And it's a woman who's praising the app. I'm not saying that because I want to like dog on her or anything. I'm saying I'm kind of curious like what she has to say, not in a vindictive way. Like I mean like steel man the argument, you know? Like, so I don't want to see a lady going like, these shit ass men ain't shit, something, you know, I don't want to hear that. Okay. I'm thinking like somebody who really makes an argument for it.
73 million former and current customers were affected. The T-App states that the data leaked belonged to users who signed up before February 2024. Still, Torres says to always be skeptical.
A data breach is a data breach, and that usually could lead to compromising identity.
And the most important message of all,
the first rule of cybersecurity is trust no one.
Very helpful. Thank you. Very helpful.
Women are anonymously spilling the tea on men they dated on a new viral app, which has just been hacked.
I know I'm hanging on this topic a lot. It's just like, to be honest, it's been like months and months now. Every day of I wake up, the Constitution is no longer valid. I fall asleep, I wake up, the Constitution is no longer valid. So just getting a little whiff of gender politics, which is responsible for like 99% of people's political opinions anyway. Some levity. It's important to people's lives.
After gaining a huge influx of new users.
Ryan in Newport Beach, here's his review. Dated him for 2 years to find out when he went on his work trip, he was actually going on his honeymoon.
Upon opening T, users can see photos of local men along with their names. They can leave red flags or green flags, as well as comments, including about negative date experience.
Denims was talking about it literally an hour ago. Well, then it's not in a video, right? Then it would be in a stream. It's sort of...
or even vouching for them as a friend. The app also lets users run background checks, search for criminal histories, and even reverse image search to check if a man is catfishing.
I just found out the guy I've been seeing has a whole girlfriend. Like, he's in a relationship of 5 years, and I'm not the only other girl he's talking to.
While the company says their mission is to keep women safe, they've also faced backlash from men who say they fear being misrepresented or doxxed on the platform.
I had a female friend of mine go undercover on the T-App, and I found that there were some women talking about me. They were clearly just...
I have to say, it's really f***ed up for my body image specifically, that when I go outside, every single guy is either fat or skinny fat. But when I look at a guy filming in vertical, in portrait mode, at least 50% of the time he's jacked. You know? I'm saying, like, they need to stop doing that. We need more, like, mediocre-bodied guys filming in portrait.
They were clearly just upset. They felt that they got slighted. Is there anything we could do about this?
Put them away, man.
This is entirely untrue.
T promises anonymity to its users, but on Friday morning, it confirmed to NBC News that 72,000 photos were accessed without authorization, including 13,000 account verification photos that were supposed to be kept private. Now it's possible that some of those identifying images are being leaked online. Online spaces for women to talk about men they've dated are not new. You may have heard of the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook groups, which have received their own share of controversy and have even faced lawsuits, which were later dismissed. But
am I wrong for believing that I'm trying to think of a way to put this, okay? If you have a good head on your shoulders and you're an adult, you're not like, I mean, you're not just an adult, right? Like, you're not just 18, but you're like grown up a bit, right? Maybe you're mid-20s or whatever. You've had a bit of life experience. That past a point, you should be able to get to the bottom of stuff like this without the help of online resources that corroborate data on your partner. Like, how do you not know if your boyfriend has another girlfriend? So I'm not trying to engage in like abuse apologia. I guess I'm genuinely curious, because I have to wonder, like, are there no signs you see? I don't really know. I don't really get it. Most of them won't tell you that. Yeah, no shit. I'm not saying because they would tell you. I'm saying because I'm wondering, like, logistically, if you're in a serious relationship and you communicate and you share life details and you talk about each other's schedules and stuff, it just makes me wonder how it's possible. Long distance situation. Yeah, it's easier long distance, sure. And if you've only been in the relationship for a few months, you know, but it does make me wonder. I don't know. I think it's different if both partners have 11 hours of their day dedicated to work. That's true. That is true. My perspective on this is definitely like biased by the fact that I have way the fuck more free time and flexibility in my schedule than a lot of people. That's definitely true. That's definitely true. Hardest job? Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like the best way to deal with stuff like this is to educate people on red flags, how to identify them, what to expect in your relationships, what should be considered signs of abuse or neglect or whatever, and then to build like strong social networks where you have friends who can kind of, you know, assess and give you a good perspective. Isn't that what it does? No. The T-app just helps you dox and shit talk men online, okay? I mean like an interpersonal thing. I don't know. There's no real way to skill issue your way out of abuse, right? Because that's kind of like a low IQ take, you know? Like if avoiding getting abused was a skill issue, then much fewer people would be in abusive relationships. It's a lot more complicated than that. I guess everything is a skill issue to some extent, but only in the same way as, like, you know, you could have gotten cancer 2 days later if you'd eaten more granola bars when you were a kid or something. It's difficult to get all this around. I do think we should set like high expectations and good standards for the idea that we should be like critically evaluating our partners, you know, looking for red flags, whatever. I don't know. I just feel like it's never that simple, right? It's always more complicated than that. Sad part is schools don't teach socialization. It's a side effect. Yeah, no, it is crazy because it's the most important thing you learn in a school. What are some green or red flags you keep an eye out for? There's like a million answers to that question, but the easiest one for me is that so many people are so shockingly bad at communicating. And that's like a general statement. That can mean anything. But like in a lot of cases, there will be relationships where they just don't have conversations with each other. It's not even about like, well, they're both not really good at communicating their exact feelings, because that's difficult for anyone. But there are a lot of people who in their relationships, they'll just have like unresolved problems that don't even get acknowledged because it's like, don't want to bring it up. That to me is wild. I do understand it being difficult to talk about some stuff or being bad at talking about some stuff, but just flat out not doing it, that's crazy to me. Many know they want to be in a relationship. Many don't know why. Yeah, that's probably true. Used to work with vulnerable people. Most of the time, the victims came from bad relationship families. Yeah, that's true. It literally people who just don't have they don't have any exposure to what like a healthy relationship looks like. And this, you know, for a lot of people, sometimes it must feel like you never even had a chance. I don't think that's necessarily true, but it must feel that way sometimes. Apps are a way people can make communities. That's not really what I'm talking about when I say make community, though. Like an app focused on doxing and shit talking men with maybe valid, maybe not valid information isn't really the kind of community that I'm talking about, you know? Yeah, it's not very constructive. I really don't think it's doxing. I mean, it kind of is. How would you feel if you had a date with somebody who turned out to be kind of not totally hinged, and then like months later you found out that there was a profile of you made on an app designed to warn women about you, and it's got pictures of you and like personal information about you and stuff? I mean, it's not necessarily like, you know, your exact address or anything, but like I think that would suck in my humble opinion. It would give some information about where you live, you know? Anyway, hold on, let me close all these dang tabs. The only men who hate this app are probably abusers themselves. No, I don't think that's necessarily true. Everyone with the dang opinions.